Welcome back to Old School Eats. I'm Derek, Old School Fournier, and finally, after quite a respite, we've got some more videos coming up on the channel. We're going to hit you this week with some party ribs. Now, you guys have seen me cook ribs before, but this is a little different take that everyone's been doing, and I'm finally getting off my ass and doing it too. So what makes a party rib a party rib? Well, according to the internet, and you know that's where all truth is found, party ribs are party ribs because they're faster to cook. Now, if you go out there and check these out, a lot of the purists didn't like doing this. Everyone thought you had to take 6 hours and low and slow and all that, and you've seen me do that very thing, and we enjoy it. But sometimes you either don't have the time, the interest, or your crowd is just asking for too much. So this magic in the party rib is cutting the rib down into individual ribs, cooking that for about 90 minutes, according to all the experts on the interwebs. Then you pan it, almost like we do burn ends, whether you do pork belly burn ends or brisket burn ends. You pan it in a braising liquid. Butter, we're gonna probably use honey, maybe some sauce, who knows, a little bit more rub. And then you cover that up, cook it, get it up to that 205, 210 degrees. Then you got a nice syrup in there, just like our ribs do when we wrap them. Take it out, put it back on the grill for about 8 minutes to let that caramelize if you want to, unless you're trying to get some extra clicks and you want the stuff dripping off your ribs. And then you got party ribs. At the end of the day, you end up with ribs in 3 hours instead of ribs in 5 or 6 hours. And I'm telling you, I'm here for it. So here we have our favorite rib, well, our favorite rib, the St. Louis rib. You could do this with any ribs. Obviously, you break down spares. Normally when I do ribs, and normally when a lot of people do ribs, they pull the membrane off. It seems the best practice in the interwebs for party ribs is not to, because they're by themselves. You want that structural integrity. Some people come in here and take some of this extra fat off. And now that I'm poking at it, I will too. I normally do not. And I clearly need to sharpen my knife because it is being a pain in the ass. But to be honest, this is completely optional. There's just a fatty area down here on these ribs. It was funny, my buddy Malcolm, who's on the camera, we went to Publix this morning, which is our local supermarket, to get our stuff. And there were no carts available. And I was like, what the hell? There's a hurricane barreling down towards Florida right now. So we will be outside cooking. Everyone there was getting water and toilet paper and all that sort of stuff. And we're getting ribs to have a barbecue. No, that doesn't make us Florida man, per se. But I did grow up here, so did Malcolm. We're not in an evacuation zone, and we're gonna be cooking. But if the weather's bad outside in the meat palace, that's why. So again, there's no need for me to take this membrane off, but flipping it over to find the bones is always the best path if you're gonna cut ribs. So we're just gonna go through here and cut these guys into individual ribs. I've got 3 racks because I never do anything small, apparently. I could have just bought one. And at the price these damn ribs were, at Publix, they were buy one, get one free if you bought them frozen, but of course I wanted to cook today, so that wasn't an option. I could have just done one, but I didn't. So we're just gonna go through, break these all down, and then as Malcolm pans over here, I'm gonna season them up in this pan, then put them on this rack, and we're gonna take them out to the cooker. After that first phase of the cook, they're gonna come off of the rack into the pan with some goodness, and then they're gonna braise. But I've got all this stuff pre-set up and ready to go. So I'm gonna break the rest of this down, break down the other 2 racks, and I'll come back and we're seasoning it. All right, so I've got the 3 racks cut up, and I gotta say, for Publix ribs, these are in really great shape. These are sort of the rib tips. I didn't square them off the way we normally do. One of the benefits of this seems to be they can cook at the same pace. So I'm gonna put them on alongside these guys, but in order to season them, I wanted to have them laid out. This giant rack, I think I got it from Old Hickory Pits. I use it for wings and other small things. It makes it easier to take things on and off the cooker. It's a great thing in my Bark 2400. Can take it. So I'm gonna season the hell out of these guys, and you really do need to season the hell out of them. You gotta get all sides. So I use the pan that they're eventually gonna go into. And I'm using all but one of my normal seasonings. I ran out of the Dirty Bird from Cosmo. I've got just a hot Dirty Bird. I think because I'm gonna braise these guys anyway, we're gonna be just fine. So I'm not gonna lose any sleep. But I always go with the Honey Killer Bee. The hot Dirty Bird comes on next, and I'm going very heavy because I'm going to throw these guys around in this pan, and I'm going to bring the other guys in too. I did not use a binder. You could certainly use a binder. I don't find the binders are particularly useful. I think it's a waste of mustard. But again, follow your heart. And because this is eventually going to be in this braising pan anyway. Oh, one little rib tip snuck in there, little bastard. This is not an action of exact science. So it's really about making sure you get plenty of seasoning on here and letting them sweat to bind that. You may be saying to yourself, well, if you just used binder, you wouldn't have to do that. You're not entirely wrong. But you'd also have mustard all over your hands and look like a clown. So you really can choose your own path. As our boy Bradley Robinson says, in this particular case, don't miss the sides. It's a rookie move. I'm running out of the honey killer bee, so I'm going to actually switch over to their chipotle version, which looks and smells delicious. But these seasonings are really just all about your preferences. So we're going to move these around, get them covered in seasoning, get them transferred over to the pan, and get them on the cooker. We're out in the meat palace, as you can tell by leaves coming down from time to time. We have Hurricane Milton. I don't know if it's actually a hurricane yet. It may be a tropical storm still coming towards us. And like I said earlier, hurricanes are serious business. Malcolm and I both grew up in Florida. We're far enough inland, not in a flood zone, so we don't need to evacuate, but we have a lot of people that are in a lot of risk. So public service announcement, if you can and can donate to the folks who are already devastated by Helene, please do so. And if you're on the coast, like my friends that are on the coast, get the hell out of here. It's going to get ugly again. But for us, in this safer area, we're cooking. I've got all these ribs transferred over from the pan. They look and smell freaking delicious. They almost all fit. Little rib tips didn't quite fit. We'll throw those on the rack separately, and Malcolm and I will probably just nosh on those throughout. I've got the Bark 2400 at $275. I'm going to transfer these guys over. A little behind the scenes. We're doing 2 videos today that we will release at 2 different times, so you will see something else in the cooker at some point. We don't have the After Effects budget of some of the other channels, apparently. But we're going to get these guys on the cooker and get cooking. That is a majestic rack. Oh my God, that looks fantastic. Now, these are going to shrink up a little bit as they cook, so I think we'll get plenty of airflow. And we're at 275, we'll judge that accordingly. But we'll be back and checking them before we put them back in the pan with some butter and some honey, maybe some sauce, who knows. Braise those janks, and that's gonna be the palace. Our ribs, our party ribs, have been cooking out there for about 90 minutes. I haven't heard the timer go off yet on my phone, though it should be about. And in fact, the timers went off. So 90 minutes in, all of the experts say that's enough time to get around 160. So we're going to temp these ribs, check them out, bring them back over here if they are at temp, transfer them to this pan, treat them up with butter, brown sugar, a little bit of honey, not too much because I'm putting some sauce in, get a little saucy, using some of Harry Sue's Cheeky Sweet Slap Your Daddy Championship Barbecue Select. Fun fact, Harry Sue's seasonings are really good if you haven't tried them. At any rate, I'm going to put them in here, wrap it up, get it back on the cooker for another 90 minutes or so. And that'll take us to our 3-hour mark. It'll be just shy of that, I suspect. It'll get us to over 200 degrees. And it'll be a game time decision whether I go through the hassle of pulling them out of the pan, putting them back in the rack to set the sauce. I said it earlier like I was going to do that because I didn't like the way it looked all drippy and gooey in another video. And I don't know that I really give a shit enough to do it. But we'll find out. We're going to go temp them right now. Well, they certainly look good. Predicting 160. Oh, 161, not bad. Let's check this guy over here. Oops. All right, well, that's good enough for me. Close enough for government work, as my dad used to say. Now, I will take my life in my hands by using this. Oh, that's hot. In case you're wondering, that was stupid. But, oh, forgot about these little guys. These little guys? I wouldn't worry about these little guys. These are little snackies. All right, so now there's no easy way to do this other than just to take these great ribs off of here, get them in this pan. I gotta say, Publix, you did pretty good on these ribs. These look great. Regional joke would be that Winn-Dixie are the beef people, but this isn't beef. And unless you're from this area, you wouldn't know who the hell they were. All right, so we're gonna go with some butter in here. I'm gonna layer it a little bit. Again, this will look very familiar for those of you who've done pork belly or other burnt ends. What we're doing is creating a really savory braising liquid. I should actually do some of this. I'll go ungloved on my brown sugar. You guys want to do this at home, you can give me shit if you want about it. I don't really care. I don't feel like going and gloving up. And it's just my family that eats here. So if this is something that will stop you from watching the channel, I wish you well in your future endeavors and would recommend you unclench your ass cheeks. All right. Now this is why you don't do stuff like this, because now this hand is filthy. So I'm gonna come over here, wash it off, and all the guys I just made fun of are laughing at me because they're like, well, if you hadn't been so damn lazy, this wouldn't have been a problem. They're probably right. A little bit of honey. Really? Oh, no, it's fine. Nope, it's not fine. It is not open. This is why I'm not a professional. Health code violation. Number 7. No, honey's good, though. What kind of honey is this? Raw, unfiltered honey. Now, Malcolm and I had quite a discussion beforehand. He does not understand the point of doing honey and sauce. I don't usually do sauce in this, but everyone seems to. So I'm going to add a little bit to it. A lot of people add apple juice, and that does not make me happy because I think these ribs will render enough fat after this to create even more delicious jus. And I'd rather that than apple juice. But we'll see. I could be totally wrong. These could get dry and nasty. I don't put apple juice in my pork belly burnt ends. I don't think. I haven't done them in a while. All right, the rest of the butter goes in here. Nothing is wrong with butter. Cardiac surgeons out there probably disagree. Messy ass brown sugar. Now, the ones that I've seen online had done 1 rack, so I just sort of tripled the extra stuff. Quick little drizzle. Quick little pour. And we're going to get it all covered up. I am going to have to wash my hands because I don't touch this aluminum foil. All right, now heavy duty aluminum foil on here. I am pretty sure I should have bought stock in the Reynolds company with the amount of aluminum foil I use in cooking. But I, like many of you, detest plastic wrap. So I try and sub aluminum foil everywhere I can. All right, these are wrapped up. Again, according to all the experts, this goes back on for just shy of 90 minutes. We'll check it at about 60. Temp them. We want them to be over 200 degrees. Anywhere over 200 is going to be great, but you'll start falling off the bone when you get much higher than 205. Some people like that. Some people don't. My wife does. We'll see where we end up with it. Because of the joy of my giant cooker, super easy. And that'll do it till we come back and check that temp. Welcome back to the Meat Palace. We're going to get this done before the storm comes rolling through. We're going to take a look at the ribs. I, of course, am too lazy to go get good gloves. So I'll use my paper towel tactic, which will work until I burn my fingers off. And then Malcolm will laugh at me. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Ooh, I'm here to tell you that smells good. See what we're temping at here. Get in. Oh, these are your 196. 194, 196. All right, I'm gonna give these a shake. Put them back on. We got about 20 minutes allegedly in this cook to go by the standards that the pros have told us. Actually, that's not bad. I can probably do that. I'm starting to get some asbestos hands like my man Malcolm Reed, not this Malcolm. Can you give these a little bit of a shake? That was hot, in case you're wondering. That braising liquid getting up to the aluminum foil, transferring the heat, that was hot. Don't do what I just did. Use these. Boy, that braising liquid is hot. Lord have mercy. I'm gonna take a look from this side too. Wow, I got them out. Ooh, got a little bit of sauce. Oh, God dang it. All right, y'all are going back in there. I made a mess out of it. That's all right though. They'll go back in there for about another 20 minutes. And then we'll make that final decision about whether we do anything crazy. But I don't think so. I think we'll be good. We should be about done with these party ribs. We've made the executive decision not to go through the effort to put them back on to set the sauce. We'll take a look at them once we get them off the cooker. Let's get these guys off. Try not to burn my hands off. I may succeed. I may fail. Look at that. Get you all closed up. They sure as hell look good. See what we're doing temp-wise. $194. They're still not over 200. 196. 98. I mean, they're certainly edible, but I don't know if they're going to be tender enough for Elena. I want to put them back in, Malcolm. I'm going to put these guys back in. I'm going to give them a shake. I'm going to put a little bit more sauce on them. Ah, that's what I'm going to do. A little more sauce on them. Even though there's plenty of that sauce down there. Give them a little shake. I realized my mistake last time. I'm going to get one more piece of aluminum foil. Because when you take it off like that, you end up tearing the corners. So, like I said, with pork, you guys know this, most of you want to get up in that 200 range to get it nice and tender. Again, if you're doing competition-y stuff, you got flexibility there. You want to bite through, a clean bite through. My family, for home eating, is not that. They like it to kind of fall off the bone. So I'm going to get this back on here, let it go another probably 10 minutes. Then we'll pull them, and we'll call it good. We are back inside after the party ribs have cooked. I have not re-temped them because I think that they were already hot enough. Like I said, my family likes the ribs a little more fall off the bone than a lot of people do. So I don't think you can really screw this up. If there's a way, however, to screw this up, I am quite certain I will find it, and I am quite certain that my family will let me know. We're going to take this lid off, see what we're working with. They look pretty damn good. We got great bone pullback. I didn't even think to look for that during the cook, Malcolm. That's the funny part. I know better than that. Now, a lot of people go out and they put these back on. That's very interesting. I don't know, man. They're not temping at 200. Now they've been sitting here for a while, so they've come down. I guess the only way to test this out is to try one. They are hot. They taste great, but they are not fall off the bone. Very tender. I like them a great deal, but I do think what I'm going to do, they're in their jus. Malcolm, I think, got a picture of that down there. There's a lot of sauce left here. I'm going to go turn the cooker back on, or actually I'm going to just do it in the oven here. BTUs are BTUs, as Harry Sue says. And I'm going to let these cook for a little while longer and see if I can get them a little bit looser. Because the taste is good, but I think that they could be even better. The flavor profile is outstanding. Having all the surface area for the rub and the jus is great. The braising certainly worked, but I want this to firm up a little bit more with the sauce. And I want the meat to get a little bit looser. So we're going to put them in the oven at 300, 325 another 15 minutes. After some further taste testing, which you can tell that I do, you haven't seen Malcolm yet, but he's similarly built, we have determined that we don't want to put these back in. While they're not fall off the bone, and I hope that my wife doesn't beat me over the head with a 2x4 during this hurricane where we're going to eat these, they are delicious. The texture is fantastic. The amount of flavor you get because you have them all cut and get that seasoning around the whole thing is wonderful. As far as an experiment, and another way to do ribs, you guys know I've done my traditional, like what I would do for competition if I were to compete, which is a wrap variant of the 3-2-1, sort of like everyone does. I haven't done an all uncovered yet. I've done the deep fried ribs, which you guys saw before in another video. 3 hours, in and out, done, easy peasy. This was a hell of a good cook. So kudos to you folks out there that came up with this idea. Party ribs, good experiment. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. You guys will try it yourself. Remember, if you enjoy the channel, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If there's other things you'd like to see me cook, let me know. And I will see you next time on Old School Eats.